Why sports?
I played sports, and sitting on the bench on varsity in Fairbanks, Alaska, fueled me. I always say that you're born with a slice of savage or you're not. I don't think it can be taught. I think that helped ignite my savage. I was an intern for Pro Player Insiders for 5 years.
Paid intern?
No.
No money.
Unpaid. No money.
5 years.
Yeah, I remember them vividly saying, Teresa, give up on that. You need to be a teacher. You need to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go into sales. You need to work at Enterprise. You need to, come on, girl. Act like you belong. I'm not the hottest. My hair's always a mess. But guess what I have? My heart is unique. No one else has my heart. No one else is Teresa.
Correct.
And I want young people to know that. We don't need to look like other people. We don't need to have the same, cookie cutter business as other people. You have to be you. And there's a seat at the table if you walk in like you belong.
Welcome to the show, Teresa. We finally are making this happen.
We made it! Look at this place.
Well, thank you. How
You've
far
made
we?
it, dude.
No, we've never made it. We just talked about
Okay.
this. We don't make it. It's a process.
It's a process.
But it's been fun watching your journey from the Ugly Sweater Foundation or golf tournament where we met, I think, for the first time.
Right. It was garbage, but
It wasn't garbage. It was so much fun, and I loved the spirit of what you
to
were
clarify, an athlete had an event and Jeff came to support him.
doing. We had an Everbowl booth.
Yes.
We were supporting you and the athletes there.
Right. Your Everbowl booths have evolved.
Yes. They're getting
Evolved.
better. We don't unevolve our boosts. We evolve our boosts to help
Yes.
everybody unevolve.
Yep.
Yes.
So we've both made it.
Yes. And just watching your journey over the years, I'm so excited to have you in the chair today. Get to understand what makes Teresa so awesome, because you bring so many amazing attributes to your career and the person that you are and how you've expanded and grown and broke into what was traditionally an all-boys club.
Is it still?
I don't think so, because strong, independent, incredible women like yourself are now leading. And I think it's becoming much more gender neutral, and it's no longer perceived that way. But you're helping to pave that way and make it possible and demonstrate that it doesn't and shouldn't be an all-boys club.
Right.
And I think as people, I went to law school to be a sports agent. Like, that world is very attractive to so many people, and it seems unobtainable. But every time I talk to you, it's like 12 new athletes are now working with you and all the incredible things you're doing for them and with them. And so thank you. Thank you for coming on the show.
12 new Everbowls
Maybe.
franchises, 12 new athletes.
Yes.
It's all the same.
We're going to run in sync. Every time you get a new athlete, I'll open a new Everbowl.
Women don't talk about their age, but we are the same age. Yeah. We won't tell you. Oh, fine. We'll tell you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you do it.
I'm 40.
Yeah.
Don't let the cool fit and sneakers fool you.
Class of 01, high school class of 01.
2001.
Yes.
Edit that out.
Edit that out. Just take it out. Class of,
I lied.
and then that's it.
Yes.
But I got it. My first question for you is got to be, you grew up in Alaska. You decided to come to the continental U.S. for college.
Lower 48, you call it?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Lower 48? I don't know. I was trying to think of what you may say up in
Yes.
Alaska.
Lower 48.
Lower 48.
Um,
Why sports?
I played sports, probably like you. Obviously, you wanted to be an agent. But I played sports in high school. And I lettered in 3 or 4, like volleyball, soccer, basketball. Basketball was my jam.
That was your jam?
Guess my award that I got every year.
Definitely a hustle award.
Right?
It has to be a hustle
It was
award.
most aggressive.
No, it had
So
to
I
be.
was never MVP. I was never like the best shooter. I was never like a starter.
Okay.
And I rode the bench in Fairbanks, Alaska, Lathrop Malamutes. And I played sports in Fairbanks, and it was really cool because it was all like soccer was limited because of the weather.
I was going to say, because you only had limited daylight hours,
Yeah.
and it must have been freezing cold.
Yeah.
How many months a year do you have snow?
6 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah. But I played sports and
No
I
hockey?
loved it. Ice hockey.
Yeah, you had to have played hockey.
I went to that was our thing. Like on the weekends, we would watch hockey. I didn't play hockey.
Never?
But this high school sports thing, I was like, I think that also built my love for any game, being on the field, on the court, the camaraderie, the teamwork, and being a bench warmer fueled me. And that's where we'll probably get into it. But I always say that you're born with a slice of savage or you're not. I don't think it can be taught. I don't think that savage can be taught. And I think I was born with this. And sitting on the bench on varsity in Fairbanks, Alaska, and never playing and like always been the ninth man, I think that helped ignite my savage.
And what do you define the word savage? What does that mean to you?
Savage means hustle, scrappiness, go-getter, never stopping, never enough. Like pushing the pedal to the metal to get there without hitting the brakes.
And you think you have to be born with it? You don't think you can develop some of it?
I think you are either born with it or not.
Okay.
And you can try to teach someone.
Yeah.
But that's where kind of I've failed as a leader is like I try to teach it and it's just like, like, come on, you don't want to like wake up every morning and like be all jazzed up and on fire for your job. So I don't think you can teach it.
Okay.
But I think you can find people that have the sliver of it and fuel it to ignite it.
And have you never struggled? I mean, since I've known you've never struggled with, we'll call it the savage.
Yeah.
But how did you better develop it? Because I think there was a period in your
Right.
time, probably one of your first jobs or college, where you had to see it kind of manifest itself outside of sports, but in the real world, if you will, or in a career-like situation. Do you remember a time where that was really pushed on you and you found how you turned on the savage that you already had?
Yeah. Well, when it was tapped,
Yeah.
it's like that in Alaska, we have a lot of oil and like the oil's underground and there's a lot of treasure, a lot of resource, but you got to tap in. They have these huge drills. Google that. In Alaska, they have these drills that get the oil that fuels a lot of our country. But I tapped in, I think, well, it was through all the the setbacks are when you tap in and you're forced to.
Yeah.
So I moved to San Diego. I went to Oregon State. I would play intramurals, Beavers, and I'm wearing Oregon green. Damn. But I was a Beaver, got an academic scholarship, got a over 4.0, was like the student council vice president and the ninth player on the bench. Okay. Never made the student council president.
Well, vice president's not the ninth man. I mean, that's a real position. That's something that I think ninth man would be. I almost made the student council.
Okay. Well,
I'll give you credit on that.
I'm just trying to build up like my little chips on my shoulder.
Okay. But I get it. You want to be president, so you didn't achieve that.
Right.
Okay.
And then I go to Oregon State, academic scholarship. My third choice, I applied for University of San Diego, made it. Stanford made it. But these were very expensive. My parents are both teachers. My sisters are both teachers now.
In Alaska?
Yeah. So I grew up with teachers. And so I was like, I still had this sports little thing in me. I played in intramurals. I went to the gym. I hung out with the athletes at Oregon State. And then I was like doing this health administration was my first college degree. And this is like garbage. I wasn't lit up when I went to like health administration classes, switched it to business marketing. And
what made you pick business marketing from health administration? Was there something that?
Well, it was broad enough to like have options.
Yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't exactly like, I love sports and now I have a business degree.
Right.
And so I was like, well, what do I do with this? Like, what lights me up? What gets me excited? And I was like, I think sports. But still, after I graduated, I was like, oh, they're recruiting me to work at Enterprise Car. Remember?
I do. It's like one of the good jobs to get out of college.
It actually is.
Yeah.
And to this day, I talk to the Enterprise kids when I rent a car, and I'm like, I was almost you.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you get paid? And I ask these kids, and they're like, $100,000. So it's a good post-college, not to knock Enterprise.
No.
Actually, their colors are green. Shout out.
Well, I'll knock Enterprise because years ago, they sent me a cease and desist because they think the Everbowl logo, when I was trying to file a trademark for it, was too close to the Enterprise logo. I'm like, really?
I could see it. But
No, you can't. Officially, you cannot see it. They do not resemble each other.
Spoon.
It's a spoon with dots. We're a food place.
Nothing to do with
No one's going to
cars.
be like, you saw acai bowls? I was here to get a Chevy Tahoe.
That's wild.
I can't imagine it.
And they were the
Carry
company
on,
recruiting
Enterprise.
us at a business school. Anyways, fast forward. I'm just going into it.
Come on.
You said what was the question? I don't even know.
How
now.
we tapped into your Savage. How you really
Right.
tapped in and then the Savage oil spilled everywhere.
Yes. So I moved to Buffalo. I went there. I got my master's degree in a totally non-related thing. I was shopping at Macy's one day and chatting up a random dude. And the guy was like, wow, you have so much energy and you're so like energetic and love everything you're saying. And I could talk to you for 2 hours. And we were talking about sports. And he's like, you're never going to believe this. Will you be YouTube, a digital host for our new platform called Pro Player Insiders? And I was like, what? Yeah. So I became an intern for Pro Player Insiders. And this was around the NFL lockout. Remember that?
Yep.
So the players union, it's called the NFLPA, started a website to have a voice, a controlled media outlet. And I was like their little host. And then I met this woman named Melissa Mahler. She still lives in Buffalo and Rochester area. And she's still pounding away at Pro Player Insiders. And that's kind of how I got into sports.
Sure.
But guess what happened? I kept tapping in. I was an intern for Pro Player Insiders for 5 years.
Paid intern?
No,
No money.
unpaid, no money.
5 years.
Yeah.
How much time?
So all you young people out there, when you think you deserve to be paid, sometimes you got to work for it. You got to give to get. So everyone, this is one of my Savage tapped.
Mm-hmm.
I was like interning, but I got to go to all these amazing events. The NFL Honors, the Super Bowl, the rookie premiere. Guess who paid for my flights? Me.
Paid for everything.
Yes. And I was like, I'm getting in the rooms with the right people. But after year 5, my family, I remember them vividly saying, Teresa, give up on that. You need to be a teacher. You need to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go into sales. You need to work at Enterprise. You need to you're
Like 5
in your
years. It's been long enough.
late 20s now.
Yeah.
You're not married and you don't have a good paying job. Of course, I was doing side hustles, babysitting.
Mm-hmm. So did you have another job on the side to pay your bills? Like a
Yes.
full-time thing, or was it all side hustles?
It was a full-time thing. So the Western New York United,
Yeah.
while I was doing the sports hustle, I worked with kids and I inspired them, teaching them life skills in the inner city.
And I think the life skills that you are showcasing here right now
Yes.
are the important foundational skills that most people need to develop.
Can we take this on the road?
Yes.
Because this was the booklet that I taught. While I was flexing and faking it till I made it, as a sports reporter, I was teaching life skills to inner city kids. And the packet, which we all need to tap into, is goal setting, short-term and long-term goals, self-esteem, conflict resolution, using I statements, being passive, assertive, or aggressive. I was teaching inner city kids
Give me an I
skills.
statement.
I feel that, instead of being aggressive, this is the assertive way to say it.
Yeah.
Like in your relationships, or I feel, Charles, you could be better at cleaning cars. Instead of saying, yo, Charles, you suck at cleaning cars. I hate this.
So I feel
Yes.
kind of de-escalates the conflict,
Right.
but still delivers the message.
It's called being assertive versus aggressive or passive. But we need to use that in our everyday life.
Smart.
And now to this day, I use it on my athletes and my husband
Sorry, Andre.
and my colleagues.
And probably me. I'm going to start paying attention when
Right.
we talk. You're going to be like, I feel. And I'm like, uh-oh. Your I statementing.
Right. Like, bro, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
That's aggressive.
Right. I feel you could find a better way to do that.
Jeff, I feel
Yeah.
like you should have allowed me to fix my hair before I came on.
And I feel your hair's perfect and didn't
Right.
need any correcting.
And passive would be like not saying anything at all.
Oh, like sheepish and
Right.
And
So
aggressive
if
would be like-
we need to bring this life skill packet, which was my day job, paying my bills, which I loved. And if I'm done with sports, I would love to go back. I mean, this is kind of what you do on your podcast. You talk about life skills.
I think of them as success skills, but yes,
Yeah.
I'm not a life coach teacher.
Yeah.
this is the show, and the spirit of the show is really to help the millions of people who struggle with the formula of success.
Yeah.
Because they think that hard work and activity alone is going to get them there.
Yeah.
And they're willing to do that. And I don't think that the majority of our audience struggles in that area. I think where they struggle is how to turn activity into strategic activity and productivity, and what are those life skills. And one of the things that you mentioned changed my life as well, which is making friends with strangers creates opportunity, which to the outside world looks as luck. Like, oh, Teresa, like, I didn't get that lucky break that you did to get to intern and get access to NFL opportunities, where it's like, I made friends with a human being in Macy's.
Yeah.
Yes, that person was lucky for me, but do you know how many people I've made friends with that didn't turn into that?
Yeah.
You don't talk about them because they didn't create opportunities, but you kept doing it over the course of years and years and years. Because I know you'll talk to everybody and anybody.
Yeah.
And that allows these incredible opportunities to pop up, and then you're like, oh, I can tap into that.
Yeah. And it's crazy how all the little jobs kind of made is part of your story and your journey.
Yes.
So I've never thought about that.
Yeah. And I want to talk about actually one of your past jobs where you did a lot of door-to-door selling.
Yeah.
Because I think that also shaped you, but gives you that tenacity that you have now, where whether you're representing one of your players or you're trying to earn the business of a player or you're working with a brand.
Yeah.
Even if I try not to answer you sometimes, you'll hit me up 9 times.
Yeah.
And I like it because you're pleasant. Yeah. Some people say pain in the ass. I call it pleasantly persistent. Right. And you are the epitome of that. And I'm curious, did you always have that, or was that learned in your door-to-door sales?
Did I always have that?
Like when you were in high school. Yeah. When you were in high school, was your parents like, Teresa, we said no. Stop asking. Or were you like, okay, mom and dad? And then you learned how to never learn
this, Jeff. Okay, now we're going backwards to Alaska, but fine.
We're jumping around. It's like a movie.
This molded me. I was in maybe 3rd or 4th grade, and my parents are modest teachers, and all my friends, my energy always attracted, like, my friends had doctors and lawyers as parents, and they lived in the hills, and we lived in the little neighborhood, and, shared a bedroom with my sister. And I would say, Mom, my friend, by the way, her dad's a lawyer, and her mom's like the head judge in our city, and they're going to Hawaii every year for spring break. And my mom's like, oh, well, Teresa, like, yeah, we're just teachers. We don't work in the summer, remember? Like, we don't have checks coming in the summer, so we're teachers. And I convinced my dad to take us to Hawaii for the first time. 3 sisters, my mom and my dad, and they must have pinched pennies that year. But I savagely, aggressively tapped into and I was like, come on, Dad, it'll be once in a lifetime. We'll never have to do it again. And that's part of my sales to this day, is like using my, riz, my charisma and, facts. Like, hey, everyone in my class has gone to Hawaii. This would be a chance of a lifetime. We will make memories, including going to the beach for the first time in Hawaii, seeing dolphins. And my dad's like, I wanted to tell you, we're going to Hawaii. And that was in like 4th grade. And to this day, we remember the trip. Guess where we're going for Christmas?
Hawaii?
Yeah.
The whole family?
My whole family again.
The Riz. I like that you said that. I've never heard that shortened down. The Riz.
My athlete on the Giants taught me that. It's a new young person term.
Okay. The Riz.
And he's like, Teresa, you got the Riz. And I was like, what is that? I Googled it. Urban Dictionary says charisma, personality.
Spunk.
Yeah. So Hawaii convinced them. I convinced.
When do you leave?
24th of December.
How long you going for?
Big Island to see the volcanoes. Because my family from Alaska likes that nature piece.
Sure. Is your family from Alaska, when you were a kid, outside of the trip to Hawaii, did you travel anywhere
yes.
to the lower 48?
Yes, but this is how my modest teacher parents traveled. And my life couldn't be more different from my family's to this day.
Sure.
But I think it's helped me grow and chat up random people. And they call me a chameleon. Like, you can talk to the hippies in Alaska, and you can talk to the Rancho Santa Fe people that live in the 20,000 square foot homes. But my dad, this is another reason why I am who I am, Jeff, is we would get in a van with no air conditioning every summer. My parents had 3 months off, and we would drive across the country.
Oh, that's fun.
You know the random McNally maps?
Yes.
So my dad would track on a random McNally map different routes every summer.
So did you go across Canada too?
Yeah. So we would go down through California. I remember hitting San Diego one year. I'll have to send
It's
you.
a long drive.
Oh my gosh. It took weeks and weeks. Guess where we stayed? Camped, Motel 6. And this is Teresa Marie Villano Reed's life. Is my parents, maybe they didn't have money to go to Hawaii. They scraped it up and made it happen. They brought me to all 50 states in a minivan with no
You've been
air
to all
conditioning.
50?
Yeah. Because
Wow.
my dad decided we were going to do road trips every year. So that broadened my horizon. And I remember this tapped into my savage. I am never doing this again. And I was like, Motel 6 sucks. And I'm sleeping on a tent. And in my dreams, I'm like, eyelashes, shopping, San Diego.
Room service?
Right. 5-star hotels. Did it build me? Yes. Did I learn so much? I've been to every major monument, every state, every city, every national park.
You know, you've mentioned modest childhood
Yeah.
to teach your parents, but you've seen more than people who had a lot more resources growing up and families had. I mean, I haven't been to all 50 states. I've probably been to 34, 35. I mean, there's a lot of states I haven't been. I've never been to Alaska. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a doctor, so I had the mix.
Oh, you did.
We were a very conservatively tight family growing up. We did some trips, but we did some road trips, but never all 50 states. I mean, seems like
I need a picture of
you
that
have
map
that.
because, yes, we did all the provinces.
I want to see all the routes, too. That'd be fun.
Because I've been to Montreal and I've been
That's where
to...
my family's from.
Wait, why did I say that? That's energy, vibration.
Yes.
But I remember going to Montreal and being like, Dad, this is so annoying. Another Canadian city. And he's like, revolution, revolution.
You didn't like Montreal?
But I'm saying, wow, how I learned about it, and that stood out to me, was he said that it's a French city, Teresa. It's like going to France and they speak Spanish. I mean, French. Where am I getting Spanish? They speak French and it's so amazing. And I was like, wow, Montreal to this day stood out of all the cities.
Yeah, it's unique. Montreal is kind of like Europe. You been to Europe?
Yes.
So yeah, it's like the Europe. It's definitely a different city.
What's funny is all the travel that I did growing up every summer till I was 17, I'm like kind of tapped out on travel. I'm like, your goal is to see, oh, I've never been to Chicago. Been there, done that. I'm like, it's time for me to get to work.
Well, I think that it helps shape you because you have the tenacity necessary, but sitting in a car for that long must have also given you a form of patience because I don't know what you would have done or what I would do in a vehicle driving across country.
With no AC.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have.
Humble beginnings.
Very.
But that built who I am today and gave me that little chip on my shoulder. Like, not that what my parents did was, it was so beneficial and so, but in my mind, I'm like, I feel different. I always thought as a kid, like I was different. And I'm getting the chills right now. I'm like, that's what our young people need to tap into and entrepreneurs is like, newsflash, we all feel a little different inside. Now figure out what that is and make it your job.
Right.
It's like, I was like, I'm going to move away. I'm going to go to college and I'm going to figure my life out because I'm different. And have you ever had that little feeling in your heart? Like,
Always.
And I think everyone does.
I think everyone does. But I think a lot of people are afraid of that. So they conform or they put it away.
Right.
Where you tapped into
They're
it.
scared to tap in.
Yeah.
Like, what if different is not accepted by society? But that difference, that little feeling in Fairbanks, Alaska, the northernmost city in America, by the Arctic Circle, the northernmost McDonald's, the northernmost Denny's, if I could feel different in that city, and I moved out when I was 17, Oregon State, Corvallis, Buffalo, and I randomly saw someone's t-shirt that said San Diego in Buffalo, and I was like, I'm moving there. And so now I'm here, and I moved probably 11 years ago. I moved to San Diego not knowing a soul. And so I'm like,
What was the first thing you did when you moved to San Diego?
and you follow your heart.
Where'd you live? Like what part of town?
Oh, interesting question. I want to inspire young entrepreneurs.
Please.
I had a roommate, okay, till I was 30 years old or more, because I chose to live in San Diego. I followed my little heart, my spirit. I was like, I'm different. I don't want to move to LA. I moved to San Diego. I saw someone's tank top in Buffalo at like Duff's Wings, and it said San Diego, and I was like, going to move there.
Yeah.
And I moved to San Diego. I covered the Chargers. And I told the Pro Player Insiders, the people that gave me a chance in Macy's, and I was like, can I cover the Chargers? You don't have to pay me. Just get me credentials. And I started covering the Chargers. I lived in, I forget, I've moved like 6 times since I lived here because I was broke.
Yeah.
And maybe I lived in Bay Park.
Okay.
I lived downtown Bay Park, Little Italy, Del Mar, always with the roommate, covering the Chargers, doing odd jobs, babysitting mostly, and going and interviewing Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers, and like going back to my shared apartment and thinking, praying on my knees, like, God, give me this opportunity. Like, I'm going to fake it till I make it. These people interviewing Phillip Rivers were like, the lady's still on TV. These ladies are still on TV. I'm not going to name any of their names, but I remember being the littlest media outlet during the day. And I remember a lot of the Chargers employees are the same. And they're like, I remember you, Teresa. And I would stick my little bootleg microphone up in Phillip Rivers' face and Antonio Gates. And remember Ryan Matthews, Keenan. And I'd be like, Keenan Allen, like, over here, over here. And the big TV outlets are like fighting. And the women weren't so nice to me.
Yeah.
And that was interesting because fast forward to 2023, they're inviting my clients and begging them to come on their TV shows.
It's funny how the world works.
Yeah. So in this little micro reel, the lesson is the people that are in your field below you, treat them nice.
Yes.
Because they're going to be right with you and maybe surpass you.
Just treat everybody nice.
Yes. The OGs.
Yes.
The
They had a
newbies.
scarcity mindset, I'm assuming, instead of realizing that your success doesn't do anything to truncate theirs, that you can both rise up to the
You're
top.
right.
There's
There's
so
room
much
for everyone at
opportunity,
the top.
So much opportunity.
So that was my funny story. Like, I stayed in San Diego. I got evicted from my apartments. You probably
Multiple
met
times?
me during this time, but I didn't show it. I was like a duck.
Yep.
You probably met me during this
I
time.
must have.
Evicted from my eviction notice, praying on my knees. And I even tell my athletes to this day, get on your knees, humble yourself, open your hands to God or whatever you believe in, and say, I'm going to challenge you, God. Bless me with abundance, and I will work for your kingdom. I will do I will do everything for your good. I will mention your name in conversation. And it's like eviction notice. And roommate after roommate, moving. And my parents are like, just come home and be a teacher. Like, you'll have a better life. I didn't give up.
Yeah. That's the tenacity you have.
San Diego gave me a chance.
Well, San Diego didn't give you a chance. You created your chances.
You're right.
San Diego was just the platform you chose because you could have gone anywhere.
You're right.
Because from what I have known of you, the person you are,
You're right, Jeff.
I would bet that I can put you in Alaska, Florida, Chicago, New York, or some middle of the country city or town, and you will find an opportunity because you will do the things that formulaically create success.
This is such a good story. So Keenan and Allen and I kind of grew up in sports together. And I remember Pro Player Insiders was like, Teresa, hey, the rookie premiere is in LA. And I was like, perfect. I moved to San Diego so I could cover the Chargers. And I drove to LA and I didn't have any money in my bank account. And I had to ask a guy to get gas. I could cry right now for $5. And I was like, yo, can you give me $5 like cash? Because I need this gas so I can, get to LA to cover the rookie premiere.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy gave me $5. And that's one of my mottos is serve who served you. And I'm like, sometimes I'll randomly give people cash. Actually, a young man here is a totally different story. I gave him $100 tip. And I'm like, we got to serve who served us. So I get to the rookie premiere. I'm sitting looking ratchet in a bougie hotel room. They're like, okay, well, do you have your questions ready for Keenan? Just got drafted by the Chargers. That's your team. Keenan sits down. It's on YouTube. I'm actually wearing a green shirt. This green thing is wild. Now I'll tell this story. And Keenan sits down and he's awkward and I'm awkward. And it was like our first like sports thing. And I'll never forget that. And I somehow figured out how to get the most ghetto hotel room that night. And I asked someone else for cash so I could get home. Yeah. I stayed in the most horrible hotel room that night. I remember, scared as hell. Didn't tell my parents. No one knew where I was. But I interviewed Keenan Allen.
How was that interview?
And that little savage in me, that was probably an unsafe choice, young ladies, to stay in a random hotel room, like motel.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I'm onto this.
Yeah, you're gaining traction. But how was that interview for you, like psychologically, emotionally, like realizing like, I might have no money. I might not know how to get home. I might be staying in a very rundown, scary motel.
Yeah.
But you did all that to get that opportunity to sit there with the newly drafted San Diego Charger doing the thing you really want to do. Did you have that moment where, like, even though you're in this bad environment after, were you just on cloud nine and excited? Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
When you were like, wow, that's what people dream about.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine like a Chargers fan, or like, that's what you dream about. That's what you work for. That's what you sacrifice for. And I was like, I'm onto something. I'm clawing my way up this hill, and I'm going to look like a duck. I always think of a mallard, like beautiful on top. Again, their greens tying in everywhere, and you're paddling like hell underneath.
The feet are just...
Yeah. And I figured it out. And I did a couple of babysitting jobs, and I'll never forget this lady. Her daughter's name was Sylvia. I'm forgetting her name. I would text her aggressively, and I'd be like, hey, do you need me to babysit this month? Or like, tell me some days to babysit, please. Like, and she would give me $200 sometimes, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. And this was in my 20s.
Yeah.
This was 15 years ago, not that long. And I would bug her aggressively.
$200 15 years ago actually was a good amount of money.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of gas.
You still don't get that for babysitting, do you?
No, but $200 today with gas at $5-6 a gallon is different than when it was $1 a gallon.
Right? Probably should have just got a day job, but I was babysitting so I could do the sports thing. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Sylvia's mom.
Thank you, Sylvia's mom. But those things are important because you hit those along your journey to keep you going just enough, right? Because if you're not doing this, and you're not meant to be a teacher, not that you don't teach, but you're not meant to just be a teacher in Alaska and settle on the life that you want.
Which is okay.
There's nothing wrong with it if that was your goal and that was your dream. But knowing you in sports, you wanted to do what you're doing now. Yeah. But you went from sports reporting to sports marketing.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big shift there.
Right.
What was the moment in time where you said,
young
okay,
ladies become a sports agent and do contracts. But the change was, okay, so I'm still doing this for free.
Yeah.
And I saw when I would go to the red carpet events, another cool interview at the NFL Honors was like Deion Sanders walking by, and Deion stopped for me. And keep in mind, these red carpets, I'm sure you guys have seen them on TV. They're like, I would say 300 media outlets at the NFL Honors packed in. And like, they only stop for the big outlets. The irony is now I'm walking down them with my husband. And I'm stopping for the little media outlets. That was once me. And I remember interviewing Deion, and he stopped for me out of 300 media outlets. I was like, this is unreal, Deion. Prime time to this day. Love the dude. But I don't know. I was just like sports reporting, and I saw the marketing guys. And the marketing guys and the PR people would be with their talent, like, stop for this person, don't stop for this person. And I was like, wow, I'm getting a one-off interview with Deion Sanders. But these people with him are really rocking with him.
Mm-hmm.
They must be adding value to his life more than a one-off interview.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know what the two people with him were doing. Oh, that's his marketing agent. Oh, that's his publicist. So I'm on year 5 not getting paid, and I was like, I need to switch. These people are getting paid way more even than a TV sports reporter. And eventually I'll age out. Like, I don't know, the women in sports, like, you have to have a certain look. And, you know, I knew I was more than just kind of a cute girl that was begging for interviews. So I actually begged this like I beg everyone. And it's not begging. It's being
pleasantly persistent.
Assertive.
And
I feel like you should hire me and I will double your business. Mm-hmm. I literally said that.
You know, I think you told me once, I feel that you should have Everbowl here because it's going to help your... Like, I think that's exactly how you sold me on
Oh, remember at Petco?
Which time?
Oh, I don't know. But I feel like I should be working for a
I feel stupid.
sports publicist, and I'll double your business because I've been interviewing all these athletes for 5 years and they love me because I have the Riz.
You have the Riz.
And
you have more than the Riz. You have the Riz and you have the work ethic and you have the
savage.
The savage.
So
annoyed this girl, all three of those.
This woman, to allow me to work with her. And I said, hey, this is what I want young people to know is I'll work for free. Again, I've been working for free, making it work.
You don't even know what getting paid to work feels like, really.
Right. I was just loving like the split life of the fake it till you make it, the mallard paddling like hell. And I was like, you don't even have to pay me. Mm-hmm. I'll bring the athlete and I'll split the retainer. And so she gave me a chance. Got 2 athletes right away.
Who's your first athlete?
One I married.
Oh, Andre was your first?
Andre. Terrell Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid, Nicole.
Hold on. It's important. I can't go past that so fast. Because
so I split the retainer.
Even before that, to get Terrell Davis and Andre Reed.
Right.
Andre Reed's a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Right.
Terrell Davis is a Hall of Fame running back.
Yeah. And this kid out of USC that was on the Rams, which was a hot team.
Sure.
Yeah.
But my point is, I know the sports agency world. That was my career path. You don't just walk up to Terrell Davis and say, guess what? I'm Teresa, and I feel that you should make me your new PR marketing person. Yeah. There's got to representative, but there's got to be something you did to land those 2.
Yeah. I'm like, how did I do it?
Yeah.
Just like how I got my dad to take me to Hawaii, y'all.
A lot of I feel statements.
Very assertive. A squeaky wheel.
Yeah. Like squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The young people, like I have a lot of interns from SDSU. And I'm like, if I'm not giving you an assignment today, you should be texting me nonstop. Hey, what do you have for me today? So that's what I did with my dad to go to Hawaii. Yeah. The Pro Player Insiders. My whole life, I've been on my to-do list, my mental to-do list. Like, hey, Teresa, text so-and-so. Maybe you'll get a babysitting job. So for Terrell, I literally said, I'll run your Instagram. Sorry, Terrell. I run Terrell Davis's Instagram.
Sorry, Terrell.
I helped him, I think, make his first post. I'll run your Instagram, but I need you to pay me monthly. And Terrell was my first, after I figured out, wow, I can do this, but I shouldn't be splitting the retainers. I went over here, started my own. Terrell Davis, I convinced to run his Instagram.
Yep. And Terrell, I have a fun Terrell story.
Tell me.
I was at a wedding.
As I cough.
I was at a wedding, and it was at somewhere in San Diego, and he was at a function that was at the ballroom next door. You know, some hotels have 2 ballrooms.
Yeah.
So I slipped outside because I needed fresh air and to get out of the mayhem because I don't love being in those dance rooms when that's all going on.
Yeah.
He must have slipped out of his. So we're both standing outside. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I look over, I'm like, is that Terrell Davis? And he looks at me. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, good. I'm like,
What year was this? Curious.
2005.
Okay. That was a while ago, yes.
It's when he was with the Broncos.
Yeah.
And
big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
Top running back in the league.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I knew he's from San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that Terrell? So I'm like, hey, Terrell? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. We get to chatting. We had a couple mutual friends. We ended up standing outside of this place for 15, 20 minutes having the coolest conversation. Like, he was just such a level-headed, nice guy. So I can imagine if you walked up to him and you didn't know him, he would definitely embrace your I feel statements and have that conversation. Yeah. Like, he's a genuinely good guy.
Right. I think most people are. You just have to catch their attention and add immediate value.
Yep.
And that's what we do in business is I could walk up to,
like,
who's the hottest player in the league now? Travis Kelce? Trust me, I got his number. Mm-hmm. And I walked right up
Sorry, Taylor.
No, he's friends with Andre. They're cool.
Just kidding.
But I walked right up to him and I said, hey, he's like, well, I don't really need marketing. I got a big dog marketing agent, a dude. He crushes it for me. He was on NFL Network as a commentator for, I think, 14 years. So he's very marketable.
Yep.
And I was like, but you're on TV every day. Let me run your social media. Send me a proposal. And I did. And I texted him every other day till he signed it. And then I got a kid from USC that was on the Rams. Then I got Andre Reed. another Hall of Famer, and then I had 3 clients. And in my head, I'm like, should I talk numbers? I was like, I'm making, I don't know, $3,500 a month. I only charge them $1,000 each. I was like, I just need 6 players. This is still a lot of money to this day to me.
Sure.
If I get 6 players, I'll get $6,000 a month. I'll have made it, Like, oh my gosh, I can pay my rent. That's $1,500, $1,700 because I have a roommate, and I'll have made it. And so every time I was like, I just need one more player. I'll be good for life. I'll be good for life if I make $6,000 a month, and I'll pay my bills, and I'll be so happy and work in sports. And then it kept growing.
Well, because as soon as you got to 6, you weren't set for life because you want more.
Yeah.
And then, not more because of the money, but more because you just want to accomplish more.
Right. And I have to give credit to those 3 guys. Mikhail, Roby, Coleman, thank you so much. You changed my life. And I don't think you had any idea because I was like the duck, faked it till I made it. And I could cry because I'm just like, life is about people. I could be selling Everbowls. I could be selling...
I feel like you should sell it. But carry on.
I could be selling a car detailing company. I
feel like you should help Charles.
It's about everyone out there. It's about people. People to people.
That is truly... I couldn't agree with anything you said today more than that last statement.
You have to convince people and show who you are by storytelling and... proof of concept and like what you've done. But they could hire anyone. By the way, there's hundreds of other people selling acai bowls, and there's hundreds of other people doing sports marketing, PR, and branding for athletes. Why hire me?
Because you live your truth.
Yeah.
That's why. I don't think you need to convince. I think people need to connect the last dot, which is you can say all the right stuff.
Yeah.
You can talk about all the things you're going to do and can do. But if you don't live it every day, then it's not authentic and it doesn't attract the end result. I know you. I know how tenacious you are. I know that if you were representing me and doing my PR and my branding and stuff, I know that there would be 0 chance every stone isn't getting turned over to create that opportunity for me. So all those athletes out there who watch this show, you need to hire Teresa because she's the best. It's the only one I would hire. When the NFL calls and wants me to go play, I'm hiring you.
But also... another strategy I've used is with the people is like, I never was supposed to be in the same rooms at the same table as Roger Goodell or D. Smith. And there's a seat at the table. You walk in like you belong. And your energy with you're trying to get people to believe in you, trust your story, be authentic, and act like you belong. I'm not the hottest. My hair's always a mess. But guess what I have? My heart is unique. No one else has my heart. No one else is Teresa.
Correct.
And I want young people to know that. We don't need to look like other people. We don't need to have the same, cookie cutter business as other people. You have to be you. And there's a seat at the table if you walk in like you belong. You have to walk in like you belong. And people will see that and they'll learn to love you. They'll hire you. You'll rock with them. And you'll add so much value to their life that they'll be like, Teresa's the girl. This is who I want to represent me. And you don't need them all. You don't need them all. You need the ones that are for you. The ones that choose you. And you know what? That carried into my relationship and my marriage. And I married Andre Reed. That has nothing to do with anything but my energy.
It does, because I think Andre Reed's another one of those great human beings. And he saw all those characteristics and traits. And outside of that, you guys are a power couple together. And I think that that's awesome.
But for the young people and the old people that are just getting started, because it's never too late to get started. Like, that is so cool. Like, your energy can attract whatever you think you are. As you think is as you are. I'm like, I deserve a seat at this table. I deserve to sit next to Andre Reed, Pro Football Hall of Famer. But
you're also willing to put in the work that will get you to that table.
You're right. There's
I don't
want
you to overstep that, because you say that, because you just
energy doesn't just do the trick.
You bring that. Like, no one works harder than you in your craft. I know that. Trust me. You text me sometimes. I'm like, before I respond, I get 9 more. I'm like, Teresa, let me. And I'm kind of the same way. And you beat me at it on my own game.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on here?
Right.
Yes.
Have you ever sent, like, put a calendar note in your calendar to check in on someone?
Oh, yeah. I do calendar notes for everything.
Yes.
Like, seriously, schedule a dentist appointment.
Yes.
Do that. Like, all my stuff's in my calendar.
I had a calendar note. Text Roger Goodell.
Mm-hmm.
Just check on him. Because it's about people to people. But you have to do the work and the energy. A lot of people are like, well, how did you meet Andre? And how did you get the job? And you're right. It's a series of things, but it's also walking in like you belong.
Mm-hmm. You have the confidence to do that because you know that you bring it.
And I'm saying to young women, that's in relationships too.
Yes.
You don't have to be the hottest. You don't have to be the smartest. There's always going to be smarter people than you, hotter people than you. But if you act like you belong, you add value, and you show up like hey, I'm in the room now. Mm-hmm. You don't have to show your ass and titties.
No.
To get a client, to find the love of your life, to succeed in life.
Because you're going to get the wrong attention if you do that, the other one. You'll get attention, right?
Yep.
But it's not the attention that's going to get you the respect to sit at the table.
Right. And this is, in sports and entertainment is a man's world. A lot of industries are, but that's one thing I want to stand for is, like, you can show up as you are and use your work ethic and your brains and, to get the job done. Mm-hmm. That's, you don't have to give all the goods.
Yeah.
And it's hard as a woman, but you have to really be aware and not objectify yourself because you want to be respected at the table.
Yes.
So when you walk in like you belong, make sure you know I am not an object to be like, oh, she's so pretty. No, I'm here because I work to be here, and I'm faking it till I make it.
So a couple of weeks ago, I had...
That was off topic, but...
No,
that
it's
was
good
for all the ladies.
But in the ladies' side, a couple of weeks ago, I was filming this TV show thing in Vegas, and I had the opportunity and privilege to get to do a little question and answer with Linda Cohn from SportsCenter, who is the first...
Did she say that?
No.
Okay.
But I'm segueing to that she's had the staying power as a female in sports, one of the pioneers on, SportsCenter, and she's the longest running SportsCenter anchor, I think, of all time, man or woman. And she has also demonstrated that she belonged, in another female breaking a silly glass ceiling in that industry and showcasing it. And just listening to her talk and seeing that, it's just been so inspiring, as a dad of daughters. And I wouldn't want my daughters to ever think that they can't and don't deserve a seat at the table just because it's perceived to be a boys club.
Right. We have to have a female in here.
Yeah. No, like you deserve it because you're qualified and as good or better than anyone else, man or woman.
Right.
And that is so, the sports world is lagging, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we now have maybe one or two female coaches in the NFL.
Well, I think the Raiders are breaking all kinds of barriers.
Yes, the Raiders.
And that's your team.
That's my team. Thank you, Mark Davis, for, woman president, woman CEO, female, and whether it's race, whether it's gender, the Raiders have been agnostic to that. And I think that's one of the things we do exceptionally well. We need to do a little bit more work on the field, but we'll get there. We're going to break the curse of the tuck rule here soon enough.
I think so.
Yes. And we need to get you some Raider players.
Yeah.
I need that Teresa energy in Vegas.
What we realized also is, I'm sure you want to open all these Ever Bowls in every city, and your franchisees are like, I need one there. As you say it out loud, you start to think, oh, I should. And it starts to happen, like that whole manifestation thing. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's got to own who I got.
Yes, you got to own who you got, but we need you in Vegas. I need that energy. Nope, I need that energy inside our locker room. Because when they see that, it's infectious.
Yeah.
And so your vibe is going to make them go, I'm going to work harder on the...
Maybe you can help me with this, Jeff.
What can I help you with? I'm happy.
One of my entrepreneur, the things that has set me back is a little mental.
Okay.
Is being affected by a lot of what people say. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a woman thing or an entrepreneur thing. It's all the no's are being affected by emotionally too much because you pour your whole heart and soul. I live and I breathe my career. Mm-hmm. And I'm so proud of it. And I made it as a woman in sports. But sometimes things affect me and I lose sleep and I take offense. How do you deal with a no and people that you like have loved and then they no longer want to work with you, or someone that you have done so much for, like goes behind your back and takes your client or things like that. How do you deal with that?
It's a great question because it happens.
Like a partner
Yeah, no, I
decides
mean,
they don't want to.
my best friend, best man in my wedding, we're no longer friends over business. So, and I only work with friends. So it
Cut
happens.
that out.
No, it's the truth, you know.
Isn't that heartbreaking?
Yes.
And like you're so proud you put your heart and soul into, and then you want to bring your people along, and then you're like, wait, you just went behind my back and got a brand deal with my homie, and you didn't tell me, and we're at the same event, and you're doing business with my friend. Neither of you told me. And guess what? I will lose sleep. I will never talk to the people again because my whole life my heart is on the line.
Well, I understand those responses. I understand those responses.
Yeah.
Because in a way I feel that too. I guess what I've done over the years is I just refocus my energy on the positive sides and realize that as life goes on and the seasons change, so do the people. So the Teresa that was good friends with that human being before you got to where you are is not the same Teresa who'd be friends with that person today. And so it's just as time changes, so do people. And if people don't grow together, friendship, business, etc., there's off-ramps, right? Like my best friend growing up, I mean, we were kids since we were born. Elementary, middle school, high school, college, best man, wedding.
San Diegans.
Oh, yeah, of course. Both went to Arizona, bear down. But if I met him today, would we be friends? Probably not, because we see the world differently. Yeah. He's not at the same place I am. Good or bad is not an answer, right? We're both where we're meant to be in our own version. But we were holding on to history and trying to carry it through everything moving forward. And I think what I've experienced in entrepreneurship, especially to the point where I work with a lot of friends and there's all this stuff. Yeah. I used to hold people to a standard and then get really emotional internally when they couldn't live up to it. Yeah. Instead of saying my people are going to live up to that standard that I hold for myself and my people I want close to me. I want to be around extremely positive, uplifting, inspiring, influential humans that are trying to be the best version of themselves and are going to push me where I feel like, man, you make me want to do better at what I'm doing just because of your energy, right? Like I'm like, Teresa's killing it. And I want to be around my friends where I'm like, everything about them is just progress, positivity. And it's hard for entrepreneurs, especially in business, because you do want to bring your group with you. You want to extend options for all of them. But if they can't live up to it, it's just like the NFL. You can get drafted on the team, but if you don't perform, the team has to cut you.
Right, and you love your coach, you love the GM, and then they're like,
and they love you.
Go behind your back and cut you.
It's not that they go, it's the reality that they're not good enough for what the team needed.
Yeah.
And so that friend of yours that went around behind your back and stole the client, they're not really your friend. They are grasping. They don't look at this as they had to use you to get this one opportunity because they didn't want to put in the effort and work to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, they used you in a situation and it sucks. But you can't wear that forever because the more energy you put towards that, you're going to miss out on the next human being you're going to meet. It's going to create the next 20 years of love and life and all that. And so
we have to have these slammed doors.
We have to open
the good ones.
Like all things. I mean, nature, right? The forest has to burn down for new growth. It happens naturally.
My sister is in Alaska. She studies invasive species and burn areas.
Really?
So that's a great analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And she studies the burn area and what grows after the burn. Mm-hmm. And it's completely different plants.
And I think Tim Grover said this. Maybe he didn't, but I think he did on my show where we were talking. And he said, do you know what the darkest time of the day is?
What?
11:59, right before the new day starts. So it's always darkest before the new day. Yeah. Every day. Every day.
You got to be so broken.
Yeah.
And that forces you to rebuild.
You have to be willing to deal with it. Because when second we become the victim in our story or we accept and say, well, I can't handle this anymore, that's life. Like that's not just entrepreneurship, right? That's sports. That's all things. If you want to grow, and it always takes putting weight on something. I mean, how do muscles grow when you work out? You break your muscle down. It actually breaks. You're hurting yourself. Right. And the body's response to it is, I don't want to break next time. So it makes the muscle bigger to handle that load, assuming it comes. You're right. And that's how you build muscle, right? How do you build your cardiovascular and your heart? It's the same thing. You have to work out hard, break yourself down so the body responds with growth. And so it sucks. There's no easy answer. And I'm not a psychologist, so I'm just giving you the Jeff perspective on it. But
So
that's
this has been an ongoing problem for me. So I've looked like, what does Warren Buffett do? And of course I've looked it up, and he has this epic quote. It's something like, please Google it. But Warren Buffett says, if we continue to have words from others and actions hurt us, then they are in control of you. Mm-hmm. We need to step back, assess the problem, and that's true control. And I want to read it.
Yeah, please.
Because that was my freestyle. But I
it was
read
pretty
this
good,
to
by the way.
myself.
That was pretty good.
I read this to myself when I have like offenses. Like, you got that brand deal. I introduced you. You're at this event. This is my event. Mm-hmm. You didn't even tell me you were coming. But because I have such a problem with this, and it sounds like a lot of entrepreneurs, you will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. True power is sitting back, observing. True power is restraint. If words control you, that means everyone else can control you. Mm-hmm. Breathe, allow things to pass.
You ever heard the
Warren Buffett.
You ever heard the we'll see? I don't know.
Tell me.
It's not a story, but it's like a, I don't know. I don't remember what the word is I'm trying to think to say, but it's like a old village in hundreds of years ago. And there's a farmer, very broke farmer, and he has a son. And he's got a son, and they're farmers, and they're farming. And one day his son's out there, and he finds this wild horse, and he brings the horse home, and all the villagers come and go, "Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. You got this horse. You're now rich, and you have this amazing horse." And the farmer says, "We'll see." And the next day his son gets on the horse to try to tame it and falls off and breaks his leg. And all the villagers come and they go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you have no help to plow the field this year, and you're not going to make it, and your son can't help you, and he's injured, and maybe he won't ever be the same." And he goes, "We'll see." And a week later, they get invaded by a foreign army, and the local army comes to enlist all the young boys to go to fight, and all the boys are taken except his son, who had a broken leg. And so the villagers come and they go, "Oh my God, you're so lucky. The horse, your son doesn't have to go to war now because of the broken leg." And it just goes through again, like all these examples. And the moral of the story is, in the moment, we think this is really good or really bad. Right. But we'll see, because one door closing creates an opportunity for other things to happen.
True power is observing, sitting back. True power is restraint.
Yeah. Like COVID.
Breathe, allow things to pass.
Like how you apply it to business, like COVID. I mean, March 18th, 2020, we laid off over 400 people, closed 28 restaurants. I thought the whole business was done, right? It was like, oh my gosh. I didn't know what was going to come. I had to go through my own pity party moment. So did our entire team, right? But then
I feel you shouldn't have given up.
And we didn't.
And you didn't.
We didn't. Literally, we did. That day was a sad day. Yeah. March 19th, though, a couple of our executives got into the room that were not getting paid because we were all laid off. Right. So they came in just because they wanted to save what we were working towards. And we said, what do we have and how can we move forward? And from that, we found an opportunity to launch a product called Later Bowls and get on QVC and sell millions of dollars around the country. Thank you.
Can we?
And franchise came from that.
Are they still around?
No. It was a byproduct of COVID. But the point of that story is March 18th, we could have been the victim forever. And 6 months later, I could be telling you, man, you remember we used to have that company, Everbowl, and COVID killed it. And I think as entrepreneurs, we have to remember we're problem solvers. And so we all have to go through it emotionally, where it's like, you got to give the emotion time. But I do that 5-minute pity party for me, and then I'm over it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it gets 5 minutes of my life. And so I would advise you to set a timer, cry, scream, curse, and be the victim of it and be upset. But when that timer goes off, what's next?
Yeah.
Move on.
Andre, my husband, gets a lot of this feedback from me, and he's a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Wide receivers are passionate too. I don't know if you believe in horoscopes, whatever. I believe in God. But
when's his birthday?
He's January 29th, and he's an Aquarius. So we're both whatever water signs, emotional. Andre will sit there and get all worked up with me. I can't believe that. Sparks Marketing. By the way, my agency merged with another agency. That's different. We skipped that part. But I can't believe they did that to us. And Andre gets all worked up. But then he'll go back and he's like, wow, I lost 4 Super Bowls. And 4 Super Bowls in a row I lost, and I was one of the top scorers, and this is another loss for you, Teresa. But he's in the losing you learn. Yeah. We should not call it a loss. We should call it, we learned 4 times at the Super Bowl, got our asses kicked, and we learned so much.
One of them was wide right.
But listen,
it wasn't an ass kick.
Jeff, losing 4 Super Bowls, losing some Ever Bowls, losing some clients and friends. We lose so much. We make it all the way to the Hall of Fame if we change our mindset.
That's right.
So Andre lost 4 Super Bowls. And when I'm complaining about losing a friend, losing a business, losing something, he lost so many, he made the Hall of Fame. So what is your Hall of Fame? After we lose, we're emotional. We don't do what Warren Buffett says. We get all into it. We got to remember, hey, this slammed door, this loss, we're going to learn.
Yeah. It just creates another path.
The path to the Hall of Fame. Living in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Teresa, I think that's a great way. I mean, we can keep going forever, but I think we've gone one of the longer episodes.
What? But I have
know.
some points.
Go ahead, fire them.
Some takeaways.
Please. What? And I want to know your non-negotiables.
I told you my setback, but now we know.
Okay.
I guess kind of what I've said in this whole thing is that savage really can't be learned, but you can tap into it. Be around other savages that text you every other day till you get the client. Text the person every other day till they work for you. Hire people, not businesses. Show who you are, what makes you different. You're going to get the job. There's 20 other people in San Diego doing sports marketing. People hire people. As you think is as you are. And the young man that I brought today is like, fake it till you make it. We're all programmed, right? And we can type into our keyboard and program, walk into the room with Roger Goodell, act like you belong.
Yep. As
you think is as you are. I'm the greatest sports marketing agent in San Diego and beyond.
I second that.
And I kind of mentioned this, but it's really important. You heard all the little hardships. It's like serve who served you. The guy that gave me $5 so I could interview Keenan Allen. My sister who paid my rent when I got the eviction notice. The interns that I have, I'm serving them. Because someone served me when I was an intern for 5 years.
I love that. Serve who serves you.
Serve who has served you.
Who has served you.
Because you were that young, Jeff. Someone helped you.
Tons of people.
You have to give to get and say your goals out loud and own your market.
I love
Because
this.
keep in mind, Sparks Marketing and Villano PR and Marketing. VPR is my female-owned agency, and Sparks is our athlete. We're now consulting for all the major sports teams in San Diego. We have Joe Musgrove, some people on the wave. We're consulting, hopefully, for 2 other sports teams, and we've just owned our market. And when I say 3 years ago, I was like, I'm going to now own San Diego.
You do.
The sports scene. I think you got to believe it, say it out loud, and all the above.
I mean, every time I'm with any professional, current, or former athlete in San Diego, if your name gets brought up, it's, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
Teresa.
Yep. Yes.
And if I can do this from Fairbanks, Alaska, I think anyone can.
Well, that's why I love your story, because so often we have these feelings like, I live in this smaller town where I don't have access to these people. But as you said, you'll talk to everybody, and everybody can get you somewhere else. You never know when that opportunity is going to come. In Macy's,
You're one person away from your next opportunity.
You are.
You don't have to have money.
Mm-mm.
You don't need a budget, and you do that for free.
And the patience part is where I think today's youth is really lacking, because they work somewhere for 6 months and they think they should be running the place.
Right.
Instead of realizing that, no, it may take 5, 6, 7 years, and you may have setbacks, and you may have to sacrifice financially to do it. But would you rather make $100,000 for 5 years and the 6th year make $100,000? Or would you rather make 0 for 3 years, make $20,000 year 4, and make $1 million year 5?
Right.
Everyone would say, I'll do that. But will you?
Right.
And you don't always have to work for free. The point is in sports you do, because everybody wants to be in the damn industry.
Like the Padres will post a listing, right? And it's like, 30,000 people applied. So again, it's people.
Yes.
So when you're in the room,
So you know.
when you're Instacarting, I worked at one of my side jobs as tanning salons. Of course, I like to tan. I grew up in Fairbanks. I was like, whatever. And I would ask every single person that came up, well, what do you do for work? Okay. Babysitting. What do you do for work? Because I knew that one person could give me that one athlete. And guess what? That's how I got Joe Musgrove. I was cool to a guy who referred me to a guy who happened to be Joe Musgrove's agent. He interviewed me after the no-no and hired my agency to represent Joe Musgrove. So it's like, talk to everybody. And doesn't matter where you are. Serving Ever Bowls I always talk to the Ever Bowl people. I want them to say, hey, what do you do? And I say, well, do you like sports? Be my intern.
Yeah. Well, don't steal my employees.
Even the Instacart people.
If they want sports, I want them to join you.
Uber drivers too.
I'm the king at making friends with my Uber driver. The king.
So is Pastor Miles McPherson. He always tells me Uber stories.
Oh, I mean, you should ask Andrew. Every time he goes with me, we make friends with Uber. I've gotten offered free places to stay, scuba diving,
We are
best
so
restaurants.
aligned with this.
I'm a pain in the ass in an Uber.
Right.
Yes.
Like, wow, you just became my best friend.
That's the way it works
for me.
But that's the way it works.
I know.
And that's what I want more people to hear
Jeff.
and understand. And that's why I love that you're here, because a lot of the guests that come on, they're different in the fact that they come from Chicago, New York, LA. And it's like, yeah, but I don't live there. Yeah. Right? If I'm from Fairbanks, Alaska, you have the same opportunities if you're willing to do and put in the effort.
Right. And you can own your market.
And say yes.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Imagine. Lead with value.
There's a dating app that I'm going to consult for called Yes. I'm happily married, but
yes.
Say yes.
Say yes.
Swipe right or
Swipe
left.
I don't know. I've never dated on a dating app.
Thank you, God. We were blessed for.
I've been married before dating apps came to be.
App?
I've been married for too long.
We
I
were
don't know how to
blessed
do
to
it.
not have to use it. But the point of the story is swipe.
Wait, hold on. You're consulting for one. It's not. We need to promote them.
Well, we haven't signed the paperwork. But if I'm going to own my San Diego market, I'm going to get an athlete involved.
Yep.
That's single. And I'm going to help them in San Diego because we're owning our market. We're swiping right. Is that the way?
I don't know.
And saying yes to opportunities.
We're saying yes.
To Uber drivers.
We're saying yes.
I feel I should get a job with you.
And I feel that you should eat Ever Bowl while you get a job with Teresa.
And I feel this was like one of the best podcasts ever.
And with that.
Who's your dream guest, though?
It's you.
No, dude. Who would be like, let's manifest.
Well, actually, I'll tell you one funny story. So before this show.
Should we manifest our dream guest?
Let's go.
Okay.
So before this show started, I had a vision for my show. And it was, I was going to use, because I believe in relationships, I was going to use who was sitting in the chair to get me one step closer to my dream guest. And each year it was going to be somebody. And my first time it was going to be Kobe Bryant, because I obviously have a always have had a huge man crush on
Could
Kobe
we get
Bryant.
Vanessa Bryant?
We could get Vanessa. That's not my dream.
Okay.
But I'd love to have her on the show.
Same.
But for this one, my dream guest was Tim Grover. And he was my first episode. And I launched the show with Tim. And it took me years of building a friendship. And Tim, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant's coach. And he wrote...
oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. You're not...
My dad will kill me for not knowing.
Yeah, no. It's all right.
Okay.
He wrote the book Relentless.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait, so he came on the
Dwayne
show?
Wade. Oh, yeah, of course. But that was my first dream guest.
That framed.
He signed some books. He hung out here for hours. I mean, now he texts me.
Okay, now
he actually got me to speak on a stage. I was with Dan Fleischman. I was at an event in Utah, and I wasn't there to speak.
Okay,
I was just there because I was there for something else. And Dan's like, come to the event. I was like, sure. So I'm in backstage, and Tim's like, when are you going on stage? Because we speak a lot. And I'm like, I'm not. He goes, what do you mean you're not? I'm like, I wasn't asked to speak at this one. He goes, hold on. He texts Dan. I'm like, I got to go to the airport, Tim. So I leave. I'm at the airport. And all of a sudden, I'm about to get on the airplane.
Yeah.
And Dan texts me, are you around? You're speaking in 30 minutes. Oh. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I got you on the stage. I'm like, okay. Cancel my flight. Rush back. Run in there and get on. And it was because of Tim Grover. And it was my goal guest, if you will.
And you made it happen.
Of course.
Cut that reel. Make it up. Make it an Instagram reel.
Done, Andrew.
Okay, next Instagram reel, Andrew, is, come on, we don't stop at one.
No, sure.
Who's your next?
Elon Musk.
Oh, could we make that happen?
I only do him in person in this studio.
What about Buffett Bezos?
I would love Buffett.
I'm 1 degree away from Warren Buffett.
I just don't know if I can get him out of his home at this point.
But you go to him.
I can't do it. That's part of my show. You come in this studio.
Okay.
That's a rule of this show.
Jeff Bezos, 1 degree, because at the Hall of Fame, when Tony Gonzalez got in, we were sitting behind Tony Gonzalez's TMZ, Teresa MZ. His baby mama, Lauren, is marrying Bezos. So he flew on a helicopter and welcomed Tony Gonzalez into the Hall of Fame because he's marrying his
that's fun.
Child's mother. And I was like, we got to go up to him, Andre. And we never did. But note to self, Tony Gonzalez does have a plug in the sports world to Bezos.
Well, I'm going to end with one going up to. So I was at a function. It was at a Beyond Meat event at Snoop Dogg's compound in Inglewood.
Beyond Meat crushing.
Yes, but this was years ago.
Okay.
So I'm at Snoop's compound with all these people, and Dana White's there.
Oh.
And he's surrounded by some people, and I'm with some couple people who brought me, and we're just chatting. I'm like, oh, it's Dana White. I'm like, I want to talk to Dana White. I think Everbull and the UFC could do some stuff together. Yeah. And they're like, do you know Dana? I'm like, no, I'm going to go walk up to him. So I walk up to Dana White, and he's with like 7 people. I'm like, hey, Dana, nice to meet you. I do my thing, and I start talking to him, and he don't give me his attention. He's like, you know what? Send me an email. I'm like, great. So he gives me, I'm like, what email address? He's like, send it to my assistant. I'm like, okay. And it's like some weird name. A Fabrioni something at UFC.
I think I've emailed her.
But at the time, I felt like he was giving me a burner.
Oh, yeah,
because
gotcha.
he didn't say assistant then. He said, yeah,
Right.
email me. And then he gave me that. And I'm like, your name's Dana White.
Right.
And so I turned to him in front of all these people. I'm like, did you just give me a burner account? Like, just tell me no if you don't want to. And he laughed. And he's like, no, that's my assistant. And he gave it to me. And I then emailed Dana White through his assistant, came out to Vegas. This was all before COVID. We met. We were going to do this whole Everbull UFC thing right before COVID. And the moral of that story is, it was Dana White, and this was when UFC was still, not that's not now, but
Right.
at the peak. And everyone else that I was around was like too afraid to go up to Dana White. It's like, we all put our pants on the same way.
Right.
You know, go up to them, talk.
Can we
Especially
do
at
a
a
whole
function.
episode on how to get anyone in this world's attention, get
Sure.
their number?
Yes.
That's a whole episode.
We're going to come and do it again?
Yes.
Can I get you to drive here again?
Yes. Because I was teaching Charles how to get someone's immediate attention. Like, again, just go right up, but there's a strategy.
Of course. You have to.
I've gotten every single person's cell phone number that you could imagine. You know, so
Well, get me
there's a
Elon
strategy
Musk
to
in
that.
this studio. Or Warren Buffett. But there's a reason I want Elon, and it's not because of his gazillions of dollars or whatever. It's because I want to talk to him about how I think experience is the most overrated prerequisite to start a company. And he started literally a space exploration and rocket ship company. And he's not a rocket engineer or scientist, right? And so I want to get into his brain and talk to him. So he's on my goal guest list. So if you know Elon Musk and you can do me a favor and you can make a connection, I would love to have Elon.
Don't you think Dan Fleischer knows Elon Musk?
He doesn't yet.
What?
Not yet.
Fine, let's make it happen.
Yeah. Everybody out there, I need Elon Musk. We should start a petition.
My strategy, what's his favorite football team?
Elon doesn't watch football.
Oh!
Sports is the easy answer.
Okay.
Well, Teresa, I got to thank you for coming today. You're going to
so
promise me you're going to do it again? We're going to do that. We're going to do that special
Even if
episode.
my hair and my stuff isn't perfect, you know what it is? It's about our hearts.
That's right. And your Riz.
Riz.
And your Savage.
Yeah. And you too can have it all.
You should. It's available for everybody.
We live in America.
It's true. The land of the opportunity.
Yeah. We have so many options. Such a first world problem.
It's true. And I think you dropped so much important value. And I want to thank you because, as I said, you are not just a friend and someone I've gotten to know over the last 6-7 years, but someone that truly does inspire me. I mean, and you're an inspiration not just for women out there, but for men too. You know, the way that you bring it every day.
Can you imagine multi-millionaire men that make $1 million a month is like, yo, Teresa, I believe in you. Help me build my brand.
Some of them make $1 million a week.
Yeah.
That you're representing. Their salaries are public.
Okay, maybe.
I know them. I know how much they make. And they're betting on you because they see it, that you are like water. You will find the cracks, find the way, and you'll take a rough rock and make it smooth.
Doesn't matter your age either.
No.
And it's never too late. I literally peaked in my 30s.
No, you haven't even peaked yet.
Well, I mean, I started my claw.
Yes.
Should we talk for 2 more hours about clawing up the mountain?
We're going to do a Joe Rogan episode, a 4-hour? Yeah. We'll have to do it in sequences, though, because Entrepreneur tries to tell me to cap these things.
I'm about to take over. I'm like, who's our next guest?
Huh? Thank you for tuning into the Teresa Show.
Called Person to Person.
Oh, that's a good name. But Teresa, thank you.
TMZ, Teresa. I don't know the other acronyms.
So I want to thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for tuning in.
Hey everyone. First, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.